What are the reasons businesses use working capital lines? Businesses use working capital lines for one of two reasons. The first reason is some type of emergency, like an expense, and we'll get into what those could be. The next reason is for growth. And the third one is really, and I know I said one of two, but the third one is really just to have a safety or security net. So what I mean by having a safety or security blanket for the business is really a business comes to us or goes anywhere, opens up a line of credit, they activate it, but they're just in case of emergencies. What are some of the examples I've seen working capital used for that would be unexpected emergency or an expense? Well, let's say your air conditioning unit breaks down in your business, right, in your gym, and it's the middle of summer. You have to get that fixed. The landlord isn't fixing it right away. They can tap into it for that. Let's say for some reason you didn't account for your taxes and your business was very profitable last year. And now you file taxes and your accountant tells you, by the way, you're gonna have to pay the IRS $40,000. That's a good reason to use a working capital line. Or, some type of emergency happens. We just went through a pandemic where most businesses across the country were shut. In that situation, the businesses that had access to working capital lines, they were able to draw on that. And I'm talking about right away when it happened. A lot of people didn't know that the SBA was coming out with a disaster relief program. So they had to access financing somewhere while their business was in the middle of getting shut. So that is a great example of an emergency where you'd want to tap into a working capital line. Those are key. But what we really like to see is businesses use working capital lines for growth. A business that has an opportunity, maybe a competitor is closing down the street and they have the ability to buy all of their furniture, all their equipment for pennies on the dollar, right? Because that business is being liquidated. You tap into a working capital line, you get that, and now that additional equipment can help grow your business. Another good reason to use a working capital line is for marketing, for inventory, for supplies, sometimes for equipment, depending on the situation I just described, for any real opportunity. Maybe you want to add staff. Right? I've had one client that I've had for the past 7 years. I've probably helped him finance over $5 million. When he came to me, at first, his business was only doing $125,000 a month. He was in logistics or trucking, and every 6 months he would come in and renew his working capital line and take more money out. Well, if you fast forward to today, he built his business to do $1 million a month right now. So he's had major growth, and every time he's used the working capital lines to bring on more drivers and buy more trucks. That's really the only reasons he uses it. And he used it to start a business in a different country, which has also taken off. So those are the best ways to use it. You want to use working capital lines for growth. So what I would suggest is if you own a business, sit down and think of all the things that you'd want your business to do better. How could it run better? How can you get in front of more people? How could you increase your sales? How do you increase your sales? Marketing, hiring more salespeople, or increasing your product lines and inventory, right? Are there any additional services you could offer if you had the funds? So if you run a medical practice and currently you're only offering, let's say, chiropractic services, and by getting financing, you could offer massage, you could offer pain injection treatment. There's a whole suite of things that could be bolted onto almost any single business that serves the same customer and same client. Find out what those items are for your business. Figure out how much money you're gonna need, when you're gonna need it, and what you need to buy to make that happen. And go out and secure the financing, add that to your business, and grow your business wisely by using financing for growth. Maybe not so much so for emergencies, but use it for growth. It's not a bad thing if you need financing or funding to get through an emergency. That happens to all businesses. However, what you should be focused on is, hey, how do I grow my business? How do I take my business from doing $30,000 a month to $300,000 a month? What do I need to get it there? Write out a list, make a plan, figure out how much that plan costs, figure out what steps you need to take when, and then, visit us, Integrated Business Financing. We'll help you put that plan together, get everything ready to get the financing, get you the financing, and get you going from $30,000 a month to $300,000 a month. I know it sounds simple, I know it sounds easy. Most people don't even make the first step in writing out exactly what their business is going to need to make those jumps, right? And I'm telling you, any single business can do it. One way, if you're stuck and you're struggling to figure out what you need to offer or what you need to do to get your business to grow, ask your clients. Every single time a client comes in, ask them, what other services should we offer? What did you like about the experience? What didn't you like about the experience, right? If you're getting your clients' feedback and most of them are saying, hey, I'd really like if you offered XYZ service or this product, write that down, make that list, and then use the information your clients are giving you to make that roadmap or blueprint on how to grow your business. That is really the best way, okay? If you take a survey from your clients or you send out an email to your clients to figure out exactly what's needed, that is an amazing way to grow your business, and working capital lines is a great way to finance whatever expenditure you want or need for the business to get to maximum growth. If you want more ideas, go to Integrated Business Financing, and if you want to just reach out to us, you can go to the site and connect with us there, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have.